technology set up. We run a team in Northern California, so Sacramento to be exact, which is kind of like a feeder area for the Bay Area. Our average price point in Sacramento is roughly, I would say probably about $550, which is up like crazy from, yesteryear. And so our team this year our goal was 300 sides and about 160 million in volume. And so we are tracking to do, I don't know if we're going to hit 300 sides given kind of the pivot and shift we've seen in the marketplace, but we'll definitely hit 160 million in volume. So I necessarily don't care all that much about volume, although it's good. I'd rather go after units and sides. I think that that's the main driver of a lot of different things, and we can kind of talk about that today. But volume's good too, because that's where your income comes from. But I've said to our team and have said quite a bit that I think that the sales volumes of right now might not always be there or might not always be as good as they are today. And so, if you control your units, you control your environment,
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It does. Y'all agree?
Yeah.
100%, right? Man, why is this not working? Okay. So in the Gary Keller Top 100, that was a goal of mine. I think another good side note is I was a member of a team. We were a top 100 team. This is back in 2018. And my partner at that time, I had been with him for 5 years, and we were doing, well over 100 million when 100 million was a lot, there was very few teams in, it was back when Gary's Keller Top 100 was really the top 100. And, we were doing around 400 units, and he decided to jump to EXP. And at that time, our entire team stayed with KW. We didn't create a new team. We just all kind of went our own ways, but we relaunched a new business in 2019. So we started from scratch in 2019 and, went from, I think our first year was 110 units to now probably 300, close to 300 this year in 3 calendar years. And so what my big, let's call it claim to fame was I wanted to run a business on model for Gary's, MRA model and be at the netting $1 million profit. And we did that within 2 years. So we were at net $1 million, after year 2, which I was really proud of because, what are we all doing this business for? It's to make money and run a good business, without sacrificing, the model and just hiring agents, right? And sacrificing your profit just to chase units. Because I think a lot of people do that. Why is this not working? So that's me. I have 2 kids. I have 2 little girls who are awesome.
How old are they, Steve?
My girls?
Yes.
One is 4. She's about to be 4. And then the other is just turned 1.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, you guys, Steve, it's such an honor to have you on here. And I'm just going to add to that, have a little bit of bio for you, but you guys will realize he's ranking in the top 1% of individual sales in California. And he's helped serve well over 700 families. So last year alone, you guys, his team sold 210 homes, correct?
Yeah, 220.
220, my apologies, but you got over 2 million in GCI.
Yes.
You guys, his team got over 2 million in GCI. So it's giving him a unique perspective on what's really happening in the real estate market. Would you guys agree? Selling that many homes? So it's through experience that, his agents receive an understanding of the market. And I know you have plenty of experience to talk about the market and how it's changing and how to, prepare ourselves for the shift. And a team your size, Steve, I'm sure you guys have seen it all. And being as experienced as you are, I know there's a lot of agents that would love to hear from you and how you and your team and what you and your team being able to make. How much GCI did he make you guys? Who's going to answer first?
2.7.
2.7, right?
Yeah.
2.7 GCI.
Woo!
There you go. I want everybody to participate. It's a mastermind. Please unmute yourselves, you guys. It's a unique opportunity to have someone of his caliber just do a Zoom just for us. How incredible is this, right? So thank you again, Steve.
Sure.
Steven. I know I just shortened it. My brother's name is Steven.
You can go with Steve too. That's
all right.
That's all
whatever you prefer. I earned that now. Thanks, Steve.
You have earned that, right?
I'm in with a guy that made over 2.5 million last year. So thank you.
Well, let's also say not made, right? We grossed.
Yeah,
and so that's another good point we're going to talk about today is the difference between gross and net income, because you know that matters for sure. All right, do we want to get it kicked off, or are we good?
Absolutely.
Are we waiting for more people, or this is it?
Yeah, let me see.
I'm good to start.
You're good. Does anyone have any other questions before we start?
Yes, yeah, why don't we start with that?
How about what do you guys want to learn today? Give me two people. 2 things you want to take out of this lesson today. Give me 2 things. Who's going to speak up? Let's go.
Hi, I want to learn, given the fact that what is your plan to dominate this next market? Because successful agents are excited. We see this as the biggest opportunity we're going to see for the next 10 years. It's now. So how are you planning to take territory, thrive and survive and really come ahead stronger in this coming market?
Yeah.
Thank you. One more person. What else? What do you guys want to take out of today and from someone of his caliber? One more person.
Come on, you got to have more questions than that.
We have to have some more questions, you guys.
I just got done with Gary Keller, so you got to have a question about that, I would guess.
Who's going to speak up?
Good afternoon. This is Sebastian. How many agents do you have under your belt that are helping you to get all these listings?
Okay. I like that. Agent count.
Yeah.
And I have another question too. Hi, my name is Jamie. And then when you just first started, did you start in a team or you started as a solo agent? And how, you know, how were you able to grow, you know, and being a solo agent if that's what you were doing?
It was my question too.
Okay,
Sure.
Cool. Keep them coming. If there's other people that have other questions, I will jump all over them.
Any questions?
Prospecting strategies.
Okay. Lead gen.
Absolutely.
Lead gen, because we want to focus this on the market ahead, right? But it's not
absolutely.
Lead gen won't change in the next market, right? We'll talk about that.
Gabe, what about you? Sorry to see his face.
Well, there's a few things. I was actually finishing up my role play, so I probably missed some of the beginning. But here's a situation that I'm dealing with right now. Listing about to come on the market, coming soon. The homes in the area that were selling at great value are now sitting on the market, so prices are having to adjust. So that conversation with my clients on, while you may have got 800, 60 days ago, we may be looking at the mid 7s now. So having those conversations.
Yep, for sure.
So what do you guys think was going to happen in this upcoming market, you guys? What are you guys already seeing? Price reductions, right? Yep. What else? What are you seeing from the buyer side?
There's going to be a lot of opportunity to help your buyers. Like there's no, your highest and best. You're going to have some negotiating skills. You're going to have to, you'll be able to talk the sellers down. Like, hey, come in with some closing costs, because I'm starting to see properties that were once on the market for a weekend, now 20 days, 30 days on the market. And these are like great properties. So sellers are going to have to change their mindset. The market's going to teach them that really quickly.
What about you, Lorena? I see your hand up.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Well, my question is, I've been in the market before this pandemic, so it's actually starting to feel more regular for me. So I'm not really panicked, but what I am seeing is a lot of people that haven't paid, and I just went through that last week, might be back up on their payments. So they're gonna start. I think personally, we might be able to have come up with a lot more listings that there is right now. Some people cannot refinance because their credit is shot, but there's not enough homes for them to go into a rental. So I think we will see listings just in that aspect, because people might have to sell because they can't refinance to catch up on the payments that they weren't paying. Mind you, a lot of people did not take advantage of money that was given to them by the government, and were buying luxury stuff that they weren't being frugal with money. They were not placing it where it had to be placed.
What do you mean, all those Range Rovers? They didn't save up for all that stuff?
The Teslas?
Yeah.
Boats? Never seen so many $150,000 boats in my life, but they sure look cool.
Exactly. Yeah, that's right, Derek. I see your comment. Days on market increasing. Absolutely. We're seeing that, right? Has to do with what? What does days on market mean?
Demand. Yeah, I mean, demand. The demand is down, right? Which is making inventory go up. I don't think inventory there's dramatically more homes for sale. We're also not creating more homes. Yeah. It's a simple product of there's less demand today.
Yes.
We'll talk about that. Cool. Anything else?
The interest rates going up.
Okay. Yeah, rates.
Yes.
Like how that will affect, the market.
It's going to affect the buying power for certain people.
It already has. 100%.
Right.
Steve, cool. One more thing is that you and I have been friends for, 8 years. We met at Rate when I was at Rate. And one of the things that sticks out to me about you that I told my agents about you is that in 1 year, you took over 300 listings when you were a lead listing agent. And just spend 1 minute talking about that, because here are agents that may feel overwhelmed going on one listing a week, and here's somebody that went and took 300 listings in a year. Yeah. So you lived that life, that grind. What was it like? So if you can speak to that, because I don't think we've ever met someone that's done that, and I've never met someone since I met you that's done that. So I would love the opportunity for you to speak on that, even for a couple of minutes, of what that was like and what you learned from that.
Yeah. I think it's a good segue into answering one of the questions that two people wanted to talk about, right? Which was team versus solo, right? And so I started out my real estate career on a team. When I first got licensed, I was interested in real estate investment primarily, and I got the license so I can gain access to property without scheduling showings, right? And I found very quickly as a consumer of real estate sales, like trying to get access to homes and write offers, like the bar for real estate agents was so low that it drove me into, once I got the license, thinking, man, I could do this as a career. If they can do it, I can do it, because it was horrible, meaning there was no follow-up. There would be an appointment scheduled to see a house, but they wouldn't show up, right? So it was a very, this is back in 2009, 10, 11, and at that time listings were taking 4 or 5 months to sell, right? And I'm sure when you called on their sign, they're getting a bunch of calls, right? So I think my entry into real estate sales, I wasn't a salesperson in general. It was more about, hey, I felt there was an opportunity that you have this unlimited potential, and the bar is so low for the effort it seemed that people were putting in. But I thought, man, if I just get my license and I do this and I work, 10, 12, 15-hour days, I have no choice but succeed, right? If you just go out there and show up and do what you say you're going to do. So when I got licensed, I was primarily interested. My number one focus was, I wasn't thinking entrepreneurially at all. I wanted to get with someone who was seasoned and knew the business, because I did not have any business, right? And I did not have a Rolodex. I was in my early 20s, 22. And I basically just made the commitment, I'm going to work for free for someone, for the first year, so I can get experience and I can learn this business, because I was coming from a manual labor kind of environment, right? And so that's what I did. I spent 9 months working for an REO broker, and then transitioned to a team at Keller Williams, actually. And that was where I was exposed to like the real estate business can be a real business. And on his team, like my first year, I sold 42 homes. This is in 2013. And then very quickly, I was approached to be the lead listing agent as he was trying to transition himself out of production. And so we spent like 60 days shadowing. And then from that point forward, he never went on another listing appointment for 7 years. You know, I took him out of production immediately. Wow. And then that allowed us to go from, 100 sales. We had one buyer's agent, one ISA, me as the lead listing agent, to, 450 units over the course of like 4 or 5 years. And that role, I just loved hunting. So I never really left that listing agent role because I loved it, number one. And we didn't have to hire any additional listing agents because I was just down to take every listing appointment. So, I was single at the time and in my mid 20s, and I was making killer money, right? I was making more money than the business was, because we'll get to profitability here in a second. We were chasing units instead of profit, and we were spending a lot of money on lead gen, a lot of money on converting leads, but we weren't really focused on profit. And so, after 6 years of working together, and we built a great team, a great business, profitability squeezed my partner to jump to EXP, because he saw the cost savings of not having a lease, not having, a lower cap, right? And really he saw it as an opportunity to build a downline and exit the real estate team business, because he wasn't making any money. And we were doing like 4 million GCI, but we were making like 30 grand a year, right? So it was a lot of effort for not a lot of reward. And that alone is what caused him to make the decision to make the jump to the other brokerage and not really consult anybody in our organization. So at that point, he wasn't really managing the business, but he made a business decision without consulting his leadership team, which in my mind was kind of like betrayal, really. I thought, well, I'm never letting myself get in a position where someone else can do this to me again, right? And so if I was to give anybody advice in today's world, I'm an advocate of teams. It's the opposite direction of the market center, obviously, but I am an advocate that every agent should join a team if they're brand new, and then they should transition to an independent agent. And I think that the success rate for agents in general would go up substantially if they went into a highly leveraged team, a good team, and learned the business. The difference between most teams and a good team is substantial. And we'll talk about that, because most teams, are a collection of agents, and the team is looking at the agents on the team to bring the team revenue and leads, right? Most high functioning real estate teams are doing all of the lead generation, lead conversion, and like true operational expertise, let's say, for the agents on the team. If you're counting on your agents to bring you deals, that's where you run into issues with what's the split. That's where you run into issues with churn and agent turnover, because if they're generating all of your deals and they leave, you don't necessarily have a real business there, right? Like your business is highly susceptible to someone leaving it and taking the business with them. But if I was giving you advice today, I would say, if you have experience, you don't need to join a team, right? I mean, you can, and I think you could make the same amount of money in a shorter period of time. If someone was brand new, though, I would push them to that team model. And I'll tell you a little bit of the reason why. And so I'm just trying to look at this list. Originally, we were going to talk about a class that I've taught quite a few times on how to build a business to netting $1 million. To me, 7 years ago, that seems insane, right? I had like $0 in the bank. So netting $1 million seems insane. It still seems insane to this day, right? Yeah. But the numbers, you become numb to the numbers. What I would add to that is, yes, we netted $1 million, but my monthly nut is like 180,000. So it can evaporate $1 million in like 6 months if I'm not making money, right? So as your goals get bigger and as your income as a business gets bigger, so does your expenses, right? And you have to be willing to spend money to make money. And I think that's where a lot of teams start to run into issues. What Gary shared today I'm trying to give myself a little bit more slack on my headphones because I can't go that far without them. So I think what we're headed into, I'm more of a skeptical person than most. And so our team has been training, and I have been pounding it into my team for the last year, that this market was a moment that we were in, right? We've been in a season, and last year there were more sides, there were more sales volume, there was more urgency than at any other time in history. So in reality, the last 2 years as real estate agents, we've just operated and lived through the best it will ever be, right? Like historically, it was a historically great 2 years for our incomes, for our savings, if we did save, and that window is now closed, right? It will never be as good as it was for the last 2 years. Again, probably, right? But that doesn't mean that your business won't get bigger or you'll have more opportunity. It just means it will become harder. If we weren't succeeding at the level we wanted to the last 2 years, then we need to make changes as we go into the next 2 years, because it's going to get much, much harder to win business, let's say. So Gary says, going into a shifting market, really there's only 2 things that should change. It's your conversion and what he calls your MOFers. Have you guys ever talked about MOFers at your market center?
Make offer for immediate response.
Exactly. Okay. So a lot of agents have trouble with that because their MOFer is, I can sell your home in the shortest period of time with the least amount of hassle and give you great customer service, right? Like we all say the same thing and we all have the same unique value prop, right? Well, all the disruptors over the last 2-3 years have been slaying that value proposition with a lot of good ideas that are solving real consumer problems, like buy before you sell, instant offer, cash backed offers, all these ideas that are actually giving the customer something that an agent can't give them, right? And so it's proving to generate a lot of leads. Whether the customer works with those companies or not, it's still generating a lot of leads, right? And so the key that Gary has been hitting on for really the last 2 years, which we've done a really good job of, since we founded our company, is try to make ways that you can differentiate yourself from the other agents in your market. An example of this would be, I pay for deep cleaning, staging, and listing prep on all of our listings. It costs me about $4,200 per listing in hard costs, but all the other agents don't offer it. They charge the seller for that. How do I compensate for that? I keep my expenses as a percentage pretty low so I can offer more value to the customer, in turn giving them a feeling that they're getting more value for the same cost. If not, I can charge a little bit higher fee than the other agents I'm competing with, right? That would be a MOFer.
Representative.
What's that? Oh, maybe she's not on mute. A MOFer would be, I cover all staging, photos, cleaning. I pay for all of it, right? Another MOFer would be, hey, when you work with us, all your offers are backed with our cash. Like we guarantee that you can close in 21 days or we'll buy the house that you're wanting to buy. And that strengthens your offer in a multiple offer situation. That was a great MOFer.
Steve, you muted yourself accidentally.
Everyone got muted. Did everyone hear what that was? Like a cashback offer, like our buyers, we can back our buyers with an addendum that says if for some reason they're late on closing, we will close with that seller on the date no matter what, right? So their offer is differentiated from the other 5. That was a unique value proposition that we provided to our buyers. Number one, we never bought a home, but it was something that our agents can go out and say, hey, we can turn you into cash buyer. That's a mofer, right? Like, why would someone choose to work with me over someone else? Number one, I can turn you into cash buyer. They can't. So why would you work with them, right? So think of ways to differentiate yourself from your competition, other than we can sell your house in the shortest period of time. We give you good customer service, all the sales pitch stuff that most agents do. Number two, as we go into a shifting market, the thing that changes is conversion, right? It just means that, you go back to what Sophia had mentioned, going on 300 or taking 300 listings, right? Well, I'm going to close probably close to 160, 170 listings this year, right? Myself, personally, running a business, going on appointments, closing listings, right? I'll probably take 200 listings to sell the 170. Got it? Back when I took 300 listings, I was closing like 120 to 130 of them. So this is back when almost all homes had price reductions. Our days on market was like 90 days, right? So you needed to take 300 listings to sell 150 to 130, right? The big advantage of COVID was if you took a listing, it was a done deal, right? Like you got paid on every listing. In fact, in 2021, we had one listing that didn't sell. Like every listing I signed went to market and sold. And that is extremely rare, because when Gary says conversion goes down or conversion changes when you're in a shifting market, like if you originally needed to go on, let's say you made 20 calls to set one appointment, right? And then you would go on 3 appointments to sign one contract. Okay, this is probably pretty realistic amid the market we were in. And then if you signed one contract, you got one closing. Like every contract you signed turned into something that closed, right? And that every buyer we signed amid COVID, highly motivated, highly vetted. Once they were pre-approved, they shopped and bought, right? It was hard to buy, but they were like super motivated and got to the finish line. In the future market, what we're already starting to see is instead of 20 calls to get one appointment, it's now like 40 calls, maybe even more, right? You have to talk to way more people to find one that's motivated. And then you've got to go on like 6 appointments to get one that signs, right? And then you need to have probably 3 or 4 signed people to get one closing, because they take forever to decide. Sometimes they're in, but then rates go up 1%. They're like, I'm out, right? Or they put their house up for sale at one price, and if they can't sell it at that price, going back to your example of like the 800s instead of 750, right? They put it up at 750. If they can't get it, they pull it off the market, right? This is just conversion changing, meaning like the motivation levels are changing, and you have to change your business model, your activity, if you want to make the same amount of money or more, right? Does that make sense? So you might need to have 6 active buyers to get one closing versus being able to have 2 active buyers and get one closing a month, right? So as we think about where we're going in the market, right? And this will answer some of the lead gen questions you guys had and how to prepare. I think that, where's lead gen? Okay. I feel that the market will be way harder than most anticipate. Like I'm already seeing on the very leading edge of the market, showings, price reductions, our active listings. Last year, I think the most listings I had active on the market for showings was like 3, because we would put them up on Thursday, they were gone by Monday, right? You never had enough time to keep an active listing. right now, I as of the end of the day today, I'll have almost 21. Okay. So it's like 10x the number of homes I had for sale back last year. And we're not taking substantially more listings. It's just these listings are not selling immediately. So they stack up and go to the next week. So I am estimating, based on what I'm seeing in our market, a 60 to 75% reduction in demand, the number of showings, right? And then I'm guessing we're going to see a 10 to 15% reduction in sales prices. Like, we are absolutely seeing prices come down. It's going to take a while, I think, for that to hit like the averages, like, you know, for us to be able to say nationwide prices are coming down. But I would say model matches that we sold 3 months ago at 800, for example, their model match twin is coming on at 7.25 and selling at, you know, maybe 8% less or 5% less, right, than what it would have sold for back in January or December of last year. So enough months of that happening, you're going to start to see reductions in values. And it's not a bad thing by any means, because home values went up like 50% in 2 years, right? I think we need to remind sellers and buyers that, like, this is something that we expected. You can't have home values go up 50% in 2 years and expect nothing to change from that. And so if you have to remind sellers on appointments, you know, when they say, well, that home sold for 800, you know, and why is mine 750 now? You just got to tell them, like, hey, one sucker paid 800 for that house. Most of the offers probably came in at 750, but one sucker came in because they were irritated with the market and paid way too much for the house, right? And I'm willing to bet if you go back to those homes, there was probably 7 to 10 offers, and there was a median of the offers that came in, meaning majority of the offers were at what real market value was, and then one person who could remove appraisal contingency and who could go crazy with their offer paid the extra high price, right? So when we're meeting with sellers right now, especially, we have to remind them that the market was hyperinflated because rates made it easy for buyers to pay an extra $50,000. Well, when rates are at 6.5%, it's very challenging to do that because it costs a lot of money on a monthly basis, right? So this is a conversation I'm having to help get sellers to price right. And you have to give them layman's terms data to help them understand what 6.5 interest versus 3% interest actually equates to in their monthly payment, so they can see, no wonder why buyers aren't buying, you know, they don't want to pay that premium price today, right? So as we start to prepare our businesses for what's going to happen tomorrow, the question I would ask, and the question I ask our agents are, you know, based on your income and what you did last year, all the hours you worked and how much money you made, if you wanted to keep the same income, but you had to double the effort to get the same income, what would that look like, right? Like if you already work 100 hours a week, you know, you can't double your activity because you can't work 200 hours a week. You probably wouldn't be married and have kids and all that stuff, right? So, you know, we have to be smart and prepared about, you know, the what if scenario. What if it's the worst? Meaning, what if I have to double my effort this year or over the next 12 months to keep the same income level? And I would focus on really a couple different things, okay, that will help you navigate this future market. And it all comes down to leads. Because if you have enough leads, nothing matters, really. If you're trying to start a team, or if you're a solo agent, or if you're a market center, right? You need to have leads. And what Gary says is, you know, as we're going into the future market, it's leads, listings, leverage. Which isn't surprising because Gary talks about the same stuff over and over and over again. There's nothing special in those meetings, guys. It's Gary talking about the same S word, right? Same stuff all the time. And I guess that's what gives me comfort, that we don't have to be creative. We don't have to be super savvy, right? I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but I am really consistent, and I do the simple things that people get bored of more often than they do. So I succeed at a higher level. It's just that simple, right? So, I would say, and it's hard to kind of give guidance here because this is the top 20% of your market center, right? Yes? In the mastermind?
Yes.
Okay. What does it take to be in that group? Just volume-wise.
Volume-wise, I would say over 6 million.
Okay, 6 million or so. Cool. Okay. So you guys are selling, at minimum around 10 homes a year, 10 to however many,
yes,
based on the highest guys. Okay. So I would say that if we're talking to the group and everyone's under 60 sales a year, okay, it's probably heavily referral based, I would imagine, right? You got a big database, you've been doing this a while, yes, and you have a lot of referrals. I would challenge all of you to get outside your comfort zone and start figuring out how to get stranger business. Because what happens is when when there's less motivated people, your database actually is shrinking because your database is not big enough to provide the people who actually have to move, right? And so what will wind up happening is if you're looking for people who are dying, because that's a reason to move, unfortunately, financially unstable, right? Life events, married, kids, that kind of thing. If you're relying on your database to spit out these kinds of people, unless you have a really big database, if it's taking like 4 times the number of people, you might have trouble maintaining the same number of sales. Amid the market we're coming out of, everyone was talking about real estate and everyone wanted to move because it was very cheap and easy to do, right? So your database could support and provide a lot of referrals because everyone was talking about real estate and it was the sexy thing to do. I would choose a lever that is comfortable for you. Open house, expired listings will come back, for sale by owners for sure. You need to choose a lever that works well for you and your comfort zone to generate new leads that don't know you or know anyone you know. Okay. That's number one. We do a ton of database business. Okay. So, last year I had probably 70 closings come from a past client or Sphere referral. Okay. We have a huge database. My database is I have 1,400 true past clients. We've done really like 2,000 sales, but my database is not super clean. And some of my oldest sales, we've just lost contact with, but I have about 1,450 in my true past client database. I have another 3,000 in my Sphere database. These are people I've met, but they're not clients or past clients. Okay. And then we have something like 46,000 contacts, leads, people who registered on our website, open house people, right? These are people who don't know my name, but I'm still hitting them with, target marketing. I'm hitting them with email. I'm hitting them with text, right? I have a big, huge net. Okay. You need to fill your database with people who don't know you because I think it's going to take more at bats to generate the same number of sales. And if my goal is help you keep your income or grow your income, you need to grow, you got to grow your network substantially, right? Does that make sense? Any questions around that?
No, it makes sense. It makes sense. Like the market, it's fine. The Shift book, page 43 talks about, Gary Keller says, like, find the motivated. In this market, find the motivated. And there's not enough motivated people. Just if you're only dealing with fear, this is why the agents that only work a referral-based business get hurt the most in this market, because they're not hunting for the people you know and the people you don't know. They get hurt the most. So you're right.
That's why. So like, you know, and I learned this and I've never made it through a shift. Okay. So I came into this business outside, you know, at the tail end of the last shift. Right. So I've ridden this wave all the way up. I feel grateful, but now it's like on, right. And I was very respectful of my mentors who did make it through the last shift and how brutal it was for them. And one of the, you know, sticking to the leads, we'll stick to the leads, but one of the ways you ensure you make it through the shift is running a good financial ship. And we'll touch on that. Okay. But leads solve all problems. In you know, if an agent on my team comes up to me and says, hey, Steve, I'm not making enough money, I'll say, okay, great. You know, the first thing I'll ask about is show me how many calls you made today, right? How many calls have you made? How many calls have you made this week, right? Oh, great. You know, I see that you've held 2 open houses. It's almost the end of the month, right? How come we only held 2 open houses? You know, you don't have any escrows. You know, you want to really challenge what you're doing on a daily basis that's helping you meet someone new that wants to talk about real estate. Got it? That's our job as agents, is to generate customers. Okay. That would be like if you went to launch a bakery. Got it? You're like, hey, I'm going to start this bakery where in the hot city where you guys are. And you just opened the door and you didn't do any kind of marketing and you were just expecting people to walk into your door. And how are they even going to know your bakery is good? You know, like how do they have any idea, right? So there's no business in the world that just starts and doesn't prospect or figure out a way to market to bring people to them. Got it? And almost every other business in the world actually markets to generate leads that come and serve, you know, to service that customer, except for real estate agents for some reason, right? Most teams do marketing. Some agents do a high, you know, mid-level marketing, let's say, of themselves and their personal brand. But most agents don't do marketing to generate people that want to come and work with them, right? They just, because of the nature of this business, they know a lot of people and they tell all those people, and those people refer them, refer them friends. And as you build a database, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, right? I would challenge all of you, you're going to need to market and prospect into this next market if you were not doing that already. Okay. And if you follow Gary's models, if you make 100,000 GCI, okay, 30% of that should get dedicated towards your expenses, which in those expenses is your employee costs and all the other costs you have. And 10% of that should go into marketing. Okay. So what I'd recommend, if you're not doing that, you should start doing it. And if you have no agents on your team, 30% should get dedicated to your cost of sale. If you have no agents out there selling real estate on your team, you should just dump that additional 30 into marketing. Does that make sense? So you can go generate leads to support you and then support agents eventually. Got it? That's how you scale and grow a big business. You have to go out and market yourself. All marketing works. I can be honest and tell you, I've studied marketing and real estate forever, and I'm in touch with a lot of like brilliant people in real estate. And I haven't met a single one that hasn't stuck with marketing campaigns that lost money. Where they lost money is they stopped too quickly. They pulled the plug in 6 months and they didn't allow time to see the return on the investment, right? So like we do radio ads. Radio ads are expensive. I spend like 25 grand a month, right? And some people are like, wow, that's crazy. And I just know, like if I spend 25, I'm going to get 75 to 100 back, right? But it took almost a year for that return to start to trickle in. Does that make sense? I had to be willing to burn 25 grand until I was generating enough business to cover the expense. And I can say when you're growing a business, almost everything kind of has that same kind of trajectory. If you hire someone, it usually takes 6 months to 12 months for that person to pay off. And if you quit on them too early, you've just wasted that spend. My light just turned on, off, hold on. So when it comes to lead gen, I want to give you some like key pointers. Dedicate 10% to marketing at minimum. Okay. And this is not, this is not spending a bunch of money on creating video content for social media. Okay. I'm a huge proponent of brand building and stuff. Once you have a consistent brand that people recognize and know about, or you've crushed, your market and you have some market share, right? You're in the top 50 of the agents in your market, let's say, right? Where I see a lot of agents have challenges, they're spending like $3,000 a month on generating like social media video content, professional grade, but there's no real, like that doesn't generate a lead for you, okay? Like it generates people looking at that stuff and it feels good and it looks super sexy, right? It just looks good, but no one's like picking up the phone to call you. That is not a mofer, guys. That is not a mofer. I got a buddy who's in the top 100. They spend 12 grand a month on their video creation and content creation for community outreach, okay? And I almost threw up. I said, well, how much money does that give you back, right? And this is a multi-million-dollar real estate team, right? He said, well, and he, there's nothing wrong with this. He just said, I'm not sure. It's hard to quantify. We don't have people reach out to us because of it, but I'm sure people know us because of this, right? And I took him through the exercise and I said, hey, if I spend 25 grand a month on radio, I know I'm going to get 10 leads that will turn into 5 appointments and I'm going to sign 4 listings. Okay. So if I spend 25, I get 10 leads, 5 appointments, 4 listings. Okay. That's 50, 60 listings a year times average commission of about 15,000. That's a lot of money, right? If you can't source a lead or a transaction to any kind of spend, you should not do it until you have enough money to burn where you just want more sexy look on your social media and you're willing to spend 5 grand a month for it, right? So I would dedicate 10% to marketing, and those buckets I would recommend some kind of listing lead generation, which could be a farm, right? And I'd go hunt out the people who crush whatever lead gen lever you're deciding to do, meaning go find the best person at farming and get advice from them on that. I've launched multiple lead gen campaigns. We started farming about 2 years ago. And this year, our farm is going to generate probably a 20x return on the spend. Okay. Took 2 years. I had to take quite a few listings in that farm to get leverage out of the material we send. But this year, we'll probably have 15 listings in that farm. Okay. We went from 0 to 15. And that the price point's about $1 million. So average price range of about $1 million. Okay. So dedicate 10%. I would set a goal, a daily activity goal. This is hard for people who are referral based, right? I know they say to call your database every day, but I know most referral-based agents don't, because they don't want to hit their small sphere over and over and over again, right? So I would set a goal to make at least 100 phone calls a day. That's our goal on our team. If I make 100 phone calls, I should talk to around 15 people, because contact rates, like the number of calls I have to make to get someone on the phone, are consistently going down because of call blockers, things like that, right? So if I make 100 calls, I'll talk to 15 people. And if I talk to 15 people, I should get 1 appointment. And most of the people we call are leads that we've generated. So that's, those numbers add up perfectly usually. If you're calling to generate leads, it's much different. But if you're calling the people in your database and you want to make 100 phone calls, talk to 15, you should find one lead or one appointment. And if you get that one lead or that one appointment, to me, that's a very successful day. Because if you do that every day, 5 days a week, 365 days a year, you are going to have $1 million business within 3 years. I promise you. It's that simple. We could stop the mastermind right there and you have all the tools you need to build $1 million business, literally. Because that's what I did. That's what Tim Heil did, if you know who Tim Heil is. That's what Lance Loken did, if you know who Lance Loken, that's what Sophia did. Everyone who makes it into the top 1%, they just did this really well. They crushed some kind of lead gen lever and they were consistent, and then they built a business around it. Okay. Any questions around that?
I have a question regarding like the follow-up. Let's say you're getting the leads. What are your systems that you've put in place to follow up with these people, or get them to talk to the lender and bring in their documents? Do you do a buyer consultation first and then send them to the lender? What is your system like in that after you get the lead?
I love that question. I'm going to answer in a couple different ways. First, I'm going to give you the learnings that I got in our old team. Okay. This is back in the 2013 through 2018 days. Okay. We were using Boomtown, which is still around. But at that time, Boomtown, if you had Boomtown, only the top tier people used only the top tier people had a CRM in general, right? And this is just like 4 years ago, okay? Like this is not that long ago. And so Boomtown, people looked at CRMs as that's where lead generation, if you have Boomtown, that means you're paying for leads. Got it? It was this whole different mindset around CRM, right? It was like, if you want to get internet leads, you go get a CRM, right? Everyone else, you didn't have a CRM, you had your cell phone and you had your phone book, and there was really no organized way you kept records of customers, right? Unless you had like a paper sheet that you held, right? So we had a Boomtown account, and we were paying all this money, 10, 15 grand a month on pay-per-click ads. And they would just come in and we would call them, and our agents got the leads and our inside sales got the leads. And then we kind of started to create a strategy, like, a hot lead is someone that wants to buy within the next 6 months. A nurture lead is something, all the things that we now know, right? But what was fascinating to me is there was no accountability to that system at all. It was just, we spent 10 grand and hoped that we made money. And then what was also fascinating as we kind of shut our team down was there was no organization of like your past clients, and there was no automation or leverage to other than email campaigns that came with the system, right? So I learned very quickly, when I decided to start a team, this is 4 years ago, I wanted to automate my mission is to for the real estate agents on our team is to give them the ability to, by leveraging technology and administrative support staff and lead generation, to be able to 10x their business in the same amount of time. Okay. And if you're an independent agent or on a team, before you start filling it with leads, you need to have a system set up of how do you intake someone into your business, right? And so I would recommend to you to think of it this way. I pre-built, before we launched our team, before we started marketing, I kind of pre-built all of the standards around, number one, what leads sources do I want to go after? Okay. And then for every lead source, I had some kind of automated plan that I wrote for text messages, email campaigns. I basically, if a new open house lead comes in, this is the plan that they're going on the second they come in, right? As a text message 2 hours after the open house, hey, how would you rank this house 1 out of a 10, right? That text works amazing because everyone answers it, from 7 with no other response to, don't contact me again, contact my agent, right? But the key is, because think of it like this. After every open house before technology, I would sit down in my car, take the open house sign-in sheet, and I would manually start texting everyone before I drove away to pick up my signs to say, hey, thank you so much for coming to visit our open house. And then you start your follow-up from there, right? So each lead source, you should try to figure out, what do you want to say to them once you put them in your database, okay? And you should have an automated follow-up campaign for every lead source. Then you want to build automated follow-up campaigns for your different stages and statuses. Like if someone says they're going to buy in a year, what kind of campaign should you write and build for them, right? Hey, I know you want to wait a year, but interest rates are moving up or moving down, however you want to say it, right? Are you still considering looking to make a move? Okay. So if you do that before, heavily lead generating, the beauty of that is it allows you to have more scale. You can handle more leads because there's never a lead that won't get contacted at minimum by email and text. Okay. So I could handle 300 leads a month by myself if all I have to do is make the call and I don't have to worry about texting them manually or emailing them manually. You got it? It adds way more scale to your business. So all of our leads that come in, every single one from every source, it doesn't matter if they're a 5-year follow-up or a 90-day buyer, has an automated campaign that's running along with a listing alert if they're a buyer. So like what kind of properties fit their criteria, right? Or if they're a seller, some kind of market report. Through our system, we use Brivity. It has an automated market report for their address. You can use HomeBot. There's all these other things you can do. Every single customer without fail. And the database is like, when we show up to work, we're working inside of the database. Like it's like our office is, we're logging in and we're checking what leads came in, who responded, where are my transactions, what tasks do I have going on in our transactions. That is where we do our work, right? Because if you build your business in a system like that, you now have a scalable business that you can teach someone else to work within your world, right? And you have a much more saleable product too, because if you can show someone, hey, I have 800 past clients, here's how I follow up with them, you could potentially transition that to someone different, right? It's like going into a crumble cookie. If anyone's ever been to one of those, right? Those cookies are crazy good, but you walk into that place and it's just like, it's just different than a pink box donut, right? You go in and they have the screens, you can order on a screen, boom, they have it's just so systematically consistent that experience is way smoother and cleaner than your run-of-the-mill pink box donut that has to manually take your order. And I was sitting there the other day thinking, like, dang, their whole staff is working, like making this stuff versus having to take the order and, count out the change. You got it? So I would challenge you to look at your real estate business the same way. What am I doing that could be automated by the system I'm using? All CRMs can do all kinds of things. And like, how could I increase my time back if I can leverage this out to technology? Make sense?
Yeah. Thank you so much for that. That helps a lot.
What you say doesn't matter. The message going out matters. Got it? Now you can hone your message over time. The messaging does matter, because I believe one of the biggest, one of the skills in marketing is creating the copy. Got it? Like what is said that institutes a reaction from a buyer or seller, right? A call to action, let's say. So you want to be careful with what you put in your text. Okay. You want to think about, if you guys know who Ben Kinney is, like nod your head if you know who Ben Kinney is. He's just a brilliant real estate guy, right?
He launched Place, guys.
Yeah. So the biggest real estate agent ever. Right. And, you know, I kind of have a man crush on him because he's just to the point. He's not your typical real estate agent you would think of, like on the Millionaire Real Estate Agent, you know, $1 million listing kind of agent, right? He's my kind of guy. And he has a text that he always like says you should throw in there. It's like one of the texts on a long-term follow-up that's not responsive is, you know, I love texting, you hate responding. And that's all you text them, so that it gets them to respond back to you, whether it's F off or, you know what, that's so funny. By the way, we're not ready yet, right? So you want to think about ways that will institute someone to respond, okay? And you don't want it to feel automated. The other thing I would challenge you to do is all of our past clients go on automated campaigns as well. So the day after our customer closes, I have like 13 holidays and key dates that we put into our system where they get an automated text or email off of that date. For example, happy 4th of July, it's Steve, right? Happy anniversary if I have their anniversary. Happy 1 year anniversary for your closing on your home, right? Or, you know, there's a task that gets set for my admin 7 days before their anniversary date for when they bought to mail them the anniversary card, right? So it gets there on day 7, basically 1 year to the date, they receive this card in the mail that says, you know, it's been 1 year since you bought your home, right? All of this stuff can be automated if you take a few minutes up front, and it will save you thousands of hours on the back end. And it's the very beginning stages of building a successful business that could be scaled, and it's documented, and it's you know, it's easy for someone to come into it and actually follow your plan, right? Does that make sense? Got it?
Yes.
Okay, someone asked about agent count.
There's so many golden nuggets already. Like, I've already written down so much stuff, so thank you so much.
I'm kind of jumping all over because we're just kind of going off the cuff here.
This is the language of a high achiever. This is the language of a millionaire real estate agent. Do you think that Steve like wakes up with excuses in his mind, or you know what I mean? Like, this is this is like, Steve is just one of the people, like the circle of realtors. Like, this is how very perfect example of how to be a professional in this industry.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have to have a big giant team to do that. And I feel I want to talk about that. And we'll talk about that with teams and all that. Like, you can have a wildly successful career selling 30 homes a year or 10 homes a year. You know, your level of success is dependent on what you want, right? I happen to believe, and this is, you know, I would consider myself a visionary in this. I happen to believe that the real estate sales model is highly at risk of disruption. And I happen to believe that 10 years from today, in 2040, customers will transact real estate different than they do today. And for damn sure, the 5% commission, I think, will be gone, right? Meaning it won't cost someone 30 grand to sell their home anymore. Got it? If I believe this in my core, like, I'm building a real estate team, believing that that's going to happen in the future. The reason I'm building a team is so that I can get enough transactions and revenue to hopefully be able to get into other ancillary businesses like mortgage, title, escrow. So if my real estate commission goes to 5,000, I can make 5,000 on title escrow, 5,000 on the mortgage, which is exactly what all these other companies are doing. Keller Williams is doing this. For example, the market centers are doing this. Everyone is trying to figure out a way, how can I take my real estate business that generates all this other business, you know, and make a little bit of money here, a little bit of money there, so that when the commission, you know, when commission reduction does happen, if it happens, your income doesn't go down and you have a tremendous opportunity. The teams that have more transactions will have more ability to do that. That's the only reason I'm chasing building a bigger team and continuing to grow. If I don't need any more money. Okay. Like, I'm a multimillionaire and I have been for a long time, maybe 5 years. I don't need any more money. I don't need any more stuff. I am building this because I feel like if I want to have a 20-year career, this is what we're going to do to insulate ourselves from disruption. And this is what I'm going to build to help other agents insulate themselves from disruption and have a much higher probability of succeeding. Does that make sense?
And Steve, in addition to that, you're also using your millions of dollars right now to do other things so you create passive income for yourself, for your family, right?
100%.
Yeah, so you're like flipping properties, buying investments, creating passive income and wealth, and that's why, like, you also, do you believe in delayed gratification? In your business?
Because I'm very patient.
Yes. You're very patient, because I know I can go buy the new Tesla and write a check for $150,000 today for sure. I can do that. However, I won't. Instead, I'm buying a property that's gonna give me the there's a misconception that millionaires are greedy because they're not blowing their money right now. But it's actually, we're smart, trying to build, like you said, insulate yourself and your family and your business, and create these buffers around the fact that you want to stay in business 20 years, not just blow everything you earn.
Well, I mean, from the first point I met you, I've watched amazing things. You're doing that exact thing. So, one of the key pieces of advice I give to new agents is you have to be patient. If we could wrap this whole mastermind into, obviously we said we would stop at lead gen and we would be over. But if I could add something to that, it'd be like, if you just focus on lead generation only, you're going to be fine. I would also say, if you're patient and you look at this business in 5-year increments, you're going to be fine. Right? If you look at this as a career and you're building a business for a 20-year term, a bad year or a bad 6 months doesn't faze you, right? And so you have to be patient and be willing to say no to the shiny thing to have an incredibly big life. Got it? And most of that comes down to your spending habits and your ability to save money, because the last 2 years has been incredibly challenging because we've made a lot of money in the last 2 years, not to just go blow that money and spend frivolously, or to expand our businesses rapidly. Okay. Because I could have probably doubled my team size in the last 2 years, but what happens if sales go down 50% the next year, right? I would be eternally bloated and nothing is producing, right? And this is what you see companies currently going through, like technology companies slashing workforce, is they just hire and fire. Nothing is done with patience anymore. It's like expand at will, get the thing that I want right now and pay for it later, right? If you think of your business in 5-year increments from a financial standpoint, in a unit standpoint, I think that you're going to be much less stressed out. Like, you're going to be much more confident in the future if you tell yourself, I have 5 years to get this done, right? Does that make sense? It's one of my favorite investors is Warren Buffett. And a lot of people look up to Warren Buffett, but I think that over the last 2 or 3 years, many people were questioning, is Warren Buffett actually, does he have it together as an investor, right? Because if you know anything about investors, Warren Buffett has lost money and underperformed the markets and everyone else over the last 2 years. You want to know why? Because he wasn't deploying his money the last 2 years. He was actually seeing negative returns because he felt that the last 2 years, everything was too expensive and they were overvalued. And he's waiting with, like, I don't know how much money he has. It's like 200 billion in cash in a bank account, waiting for everything to go on sale, right? Warren Buffett has become the greatest investor in history because when everyone else is spending and going crazy, he's storing money And then when everyone else has no money and they're contracting, he's expanding. Does that make sense? And so if you use that philosophy as if you look at the horizon of the next 2 years, I think there's a great moment in history right now for those who are able to weather the storm and who have saved and who have run financial ships that are good to take great market share and have a tremendous opportunity to double their net worth over the next 2 to 4 years, right? If you can go out in the marketplace and sell real estate and you are the one succeeding, there's going to be a lot of agents, a lot of staff, a lot of sellers and buyers that are looking to the person who's the consistent one amid all the chaos. Does that make sense? Like, how could an agent make sound decisions for a seller if they need that commission to live today? Like, there's no way they're going to make, and you should use that on your appointments, right? If you're a top producer, you should say, like, these agents over here, they sell 5 or 6 homes. They need that check right now. So you can't trust what they're saying because they need that check to live right now, today, right? And if they need it that bad, they're probably not giving you sound advice, right? So getting back to the team idea, there's kind of 3 ways that teams are set up, right? Someone asked, what was your agent count? Okay. There's 3, let's call it team 1 is the collection team. I call it a collection team. And the collection team, I would say the majority of teams are this. They might have one admin, like a real admin, and their TC is probably offsite. Got it? And then they might have 6 agents. 16 to 20, 6 to 20 agents. There's lots of them that have tons of these agents, right? And then they do some lead gen. They have some team meetings. And then they provide some technology. Meaning, we'll give you a CRM, we'll give you all this stuff, right? But the agents, the collection team, the agents do the prospecting. Okay. In the collection model, the cost of sale runs like 40 to 60%. Do you know what is, does everyone know what cost of sale means?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right. Do you concur with this, Sophia?
I do.
Okay, so you know the collection idea. Okay. There's team 2 would be like our team. I would call it the fully leveraged. Let's call it the leverage team. Okay. So with 220 units last year, our agents that were actually in production, not new, seasoned, we had 3 agents. And those agents accounted for like 110 of the sales. The rest of the sales came from me. I call it our organization, let's say. Listings, we're listing heavy. So on a leveraged team, you're building out the lead generation, the lead conversion, meaning you have inside salespeople, and you're highly leveraged with admin, which means we have one admin for every agent. In fact, right now we have almost 2 admin for every agent. Okay, and these are salaries that the team pays for and maintains. And then let me think. The team dedicates appointments, meaning the team gives appointments to the agents that are teed up for them, right? Like, you join my team, I have a customer. Once you hit all of your, once you onboard and you're you've done all the things for the first 30 days and you're doing your job as a team agent, 5 to 10 times a month, I give you an appointment with a customer that's ready to buy or sell. Does that make sense? So our cost of sale year to date right now is 20%. Have you ever heard of that before, Sophia?
Yeah, she had a
jump off.
She's right here.
Okay.
Hi. Yes.
Not very many teams run at a 20% cost of sale, right? But there are people. This is the model I believe is the future, where the team is highly supporting agents, and the agents don't have to lead generate. All they're doing is going on appointments, meeting customers, doing the customer service. And then once they negotiate the deal, boom, they pass it off to the admin team. They are truly converters, going on appointments, meeting customers, showing property, doing the deals, right? And so if you want to have a highly leveraged team, I would chase that model, but it takes you personally growing your sales business to the point where you can support giving deals to another person. Mm-hmm. Where most agents have problems is they themselves don't have a business big enough to support agents, and they just start adding agents, and those agents don't get a lot of leverage or value from the team, and then teams get a bad rap, and that agent winds up spending 4 years trying to build this team, and it never really works, right?
Yes.
And so the truly leveraged team follows Gary's model to a T. Hire an admin number 2. Yep. You get to probably around 80 to 100 units. Then you're ready for a buyer's agent. Once you have a buyer's agent, you start hunting listings only. Once you have enough listings, probably around 100, you would want to dedicate hiring a listing agent. And then from there, you're starting to work on building departments, right? And you become a true CEO, right? If I was a solo agent right now, I would really just focus on getting good at hiring administrative talent. I would get showing partners, and I'd probably stack up 5 or 6 showing partners before I ever hired an agent. And you're going to make a killer. I mean, I know many agents netting $1 million as individual agents with 3 or 4 admin, right?
Yeah.
And I could do that. I mean, given my current, I'll probably close 140 units myself this year. I mean, if I rid all of the expenses, I would probably net about $1 million on that, I'm guessing, if I had my TC, my listing manager, and my showing partner, right? If I got rid of all my agents and my other admin, I could probably do that, right? But the problem becomes you are the one. Like, you never can leave, right? Your customers are always attached to you, and you could build a great business that way. It's truly a sole practitionership, right? You are the business.
Yeah, and the more personal it is, the less scalable it is too.
Absolutely. 100%. You can't walk away from it. And I've never wanted to be, as much as I love being a listing agent, I've never wanted to build a company that I can't do anything with, or I can't leave, or you can't give to one of your people, right? It's hard for you to detach and give one of your agents a percentage ownership if it's all revolving around you and you're ready to retire, let's say, right? Does it make sense? But if you build a business that's setting appointments, irregardless of you in it, that is a machine that's saleable, right? Look at companies like HomeLight, right? Look at companies like Redfin, they refer deals. All these referral companies, Dave Ramsey, they're huge real estate businesses because they generate leads and they refer those leads to agents. You can do the same thing on your real estate team, okay? And then there's a third kind of team that's starting to, and it's really not a team. And this is not a knock on EXP, but it's like the virtual team where you like meet as a group on, and they might give you some leads and stuff, but there's no real core business model, right? So if you think you're going to go build one of those and you're going to have those agents on splits that are really low, to me, it just doesn't make sense. I'd rather build a really high functioning business that's scalable and repeatable. Got it? Does that make sense? Is there anything else that you guys want to talk about?
Wow, this has been incredible. Any questions?
I'm
you
gonna
guys?
move on to
I have
finances real quick.
Since you guys talked about the more personable the business is, the less scalable it is, does your team do like closing gifts and things like that? Sorry, I can't hear you.
Yes, you can scale all of this, right?
Yeah.
Hold on. I'm not muted anymore. Can you hear me?
No, yeah, we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I just cut off a little bit the Wi-Fi thing.
Okay. Yeah, I think I have bad Wi-Fi right now. Hold on. So yes, yeah, we do. Our team, like I'm trying to scale a high-functioning customer service business, right? So like, there are teams out there that just want to close as many units as possible, but they don't care about the database at all, right? So our business is a healthy mix of advertising while taking great care of our customers. So our like every agent on our team and our admin execute, like when they go under contract, they get a crumble cookie that says, congrats, I'm going into escrow, right? It's all systematized where the second it goes under contract, someone sends a Slack message and then our admin gets it to the doorstep like 10 minutes after they get the news they went under contract. It's like sick, right? It's such a good idea. It costs $18 to do. But imagine your customer gets the call, they won the house, 15 minutes later, they have a crumble cookie on their doorstep, right? And then we'll do another touch at closing where we give them a closing gift. And this has been scaled where we pre-ordered cutting boards, super nice custom-made cutting boards. They're like $80 each. And our cost for closing gift is like $120. And I cover all those costs, the setup and the execution for our agents. So, I mean, they literally get to look like rock stars, right? While our admin execute this strategy. Does that make sense? And then all of their past clients go on our campaigns of, there's basically 36 touches every year for every past client. We do 4 client events every year. Recently, we just did a AAA baseball game, and the team handles all of the, the marketing around that, the execution of that, the payment of all of that, and then the agents can invite their customers, whether they're 1-year agents or 5-year agents. It's like having your own marketing team, right? Running all of your business for you, and you don't have to spend the money to do it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you.
I think that it's more, that kind of stuff is important, right? Like we talked a lot about lead gen, but the actual execution of all of these things is more complex than really, just saying, hey, we should build a team, and taking a customer from start to finish is more complicated than we're just going to transaction manage this thing, right? But yeah. I would say if you focus on, here's how I would break it down. There's 3 buckets, right?
Sorry to interrupt, Steve.
Sales.
Is everyone's audio choppy right now? Or just
okay. It's like
yes.
Your audio is really, really cutting out really bad. I'm so sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah, let me check my hold on a second.
Yeah, sorry about that. Because we really want the
check my internet
really,
connection.
really good.
Yeah.
It's very choppy.
Sometimes we get super bad. Hold on.
Okay. What do you guys think so far since I have you guys on here?
Does that work better?
You good?
Hold on.
Okay.
Can you hear me better now?
Yes.
Is it better now?
It's still a bit choppy, but better.
Hold on a second. We just have like the worst Wi-Fi at this office. It's horrible. You would think that after everyone bugging them, they would figure out a way, but hold on a second.
This is a lot of information.
I'm going to power through. Can you hear better now?
You can power through. It's still a bit choppy, but we're not picky. We can still make out what you have to say. I'm great. Like, if you have to keep it going, we'll figure it out, y'all. I have this recorded. Really quick.
I was gonna. Yeah, and I'll slow it down a little bit too. So you have sales.
Good enough for me.
You probably can't see this, so I'll try to take a picture of it. Lead gen. You have sales, and you have operations. Okay, your business can be broken down into 3 buckets. Got it? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Am I still super choppy?
Choppy and blurry, but we can hear you.
Yes. Jeez, man.
I can make out what you're saying.
I feel like it's less choppy.
It's less chop. It's, you know, we all watch the movie Transformers.
Yeah,
you can hear this.
Less choppy. In the afternoon, it gets really choppy. So if you look at all your businesses, even if you're an independent agent, individual agent, you have 3 departments. Got it? You have your lead generation department. You have your sales department. Okay. And then you have your operations department. Everyone should look at their business and like draw this map of like your business and draw out what this looks like, okay? So your operations team, let's say, is in charge of your database, right? Plan. For us, this is 4 events every year. 4 events a year: movie event, baseball event, pictures in the park, whatever you want to, you know, Pi Day, everyone does Pi Day, blah, 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 right? Your operations team does your transaction management. Okay. Your operations team does all of your marketing. Okay. For your branding, let's say. Your sales department, okay? These are your agents. This is your outside sales. Sales team does buyer and seller customer service. Your sales team, you can split them up into specialists, meaning you have a buyer's agent that only works buyers, and you have a listing agent that only works listings. Our agents work both. I believe all agents want to take listings, so why would I limit them from taking listings, right? And then you can have showing partners. Got it? Your lead gen is, this department is responsible for creating marketing campaigns. Inside sales teams, if you have them. Lead conversion, meaning if a lead comes in, how do you get it to a meeting, right? Once it does conversion, it goes to the outside sales. You then go out to meet the customer, right? Your lead gen department creates the copy, or let's just call it creates the MOFR. Got it? This is your business in a nutshell. You do lead gen, that then creates a lead that turns into an appointment, okay? Once that appointment has gone on, then it turns into a contract or customer. Got it? And if you look at your business and you started to document, you know, what do I do when I get a deal in, you know, once I sign a listing, what happens? Document all the things that you do, right? And once I do an event, document, how do I do that event? You're starting to document building a business, and you can teach someone else how to do those steps, right? The steps that matter the most always land back, and that's why we only really talk about lead gen. Does that make sense? All of the operation stuff that I do, the 4 events a year, all
He's gone.
No. Oh my goodness. Wow. You guys, that's some good info. I'm gonna text them. I was really into that.
I know.
All right, guys. What are some ahas? Give me a couple ahas while we figure out how to get them back on the line.
I need to get the amen.
Where's the front desk from? What happened?
As a solo
One of the
agent,
ahas.
Yes, you guys, we have career visioning. There's a few of you, not everyone. A few of you, especially ALC. If you guys have an admin, Claudia Soto, career visioning in San Diego, 21st and 22nd. That's what's going to teach you how to do proper hiring, the proper hiring process, how to actually do a KPA, or how to work through your current admins and help them get to where you need them to be, or find a better seat on the bus for them. And super, super worth it. I know we're all busy with Bold, but if you guys want leverage, you guys want to build teams, it's a must attend course. A must.
One of the ahas, massive action and a lot of work.
Yeah, give me some more ahas, y'all, while he gets back on here.
Those automated campaigns for, the different stages and the different lead source. That was the biggest one for me. I was like, oh, damn, because every lead source is different follow-up, right? So I never know how to follow up with them, or what campaign or email thing do I put them on, and everyone's just gone on the same one. But now knowing I need to differentiate all of them, that's big.
It's gonna be a big one.
I like the one where it says that to send out a text message for the people that have ghosted you.
Yeah, that goes.
I love text. I love texting, and you hate responding.
That's
so
hilarious.
Eventually you're gonna get one, and it probably makes them laugh too, and that's when they respond.
Yeah, I definitely wrote that one down as well.
I was like, oh, that's so true, because
So that is not from me. That is from Ben Kinney. So I swooped that from Ben, and he has lots of those one-liners too.
We all write it down, I think.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good catch, because some people you'll probably connect that way. Little comments like that or texting, either it makes their day or it doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just you have to find a way to get them to respond, right? That's why I say, it's the stats are crazy. The sale is 1. My computer died. Sorry, guys. So now I'm on an iPad. So, the sale is 1 in the long-term follow-up. I've been playing the lead generation game for a really long time. So I have a lot of experience doing lead gen. And what I found is, maybe 10 to 20% of all of your leads will actually convert in the first 3 months. Meaning if someone reaches out to you and says, hey, I'm interested in buying or selling, they're actually going to do business in those 90 days. So the majority of your business is won between months 3 and 6 years, right? So, when these people come to you, you have to be really patient, and you have to have good follow-up strategies, because the vast majority of the business is going to be won after 90 days. And most agents forget, and they don't follow up, and they're not good at running a good system to stay in contact with leads. And there's no excuse anymore, because CRMs and with KW, we have Command for free. So it has everything that we need to never forget to call a customer again, literally. There is no reason we should ever lose business because we forgot, because we can set tasks and it's super easy to have reminders, right? But I was getting into, we all should think of our business as this and start writing down what you do. What is your business? What do you do when you go on an appointment? What do you do after you set an appointment? What are all these steps that you do? You set a listing appointment, what happens next, right? Everyone has these models that they run. You should document them, and that way you have them. Number 1, if you're ever gone, someone can help you with it. Number 2, as you start to grow your business and you need to hire someone, you can give that to them and say, hey, this is what I want you to do as your job, right? Because if you take someone else's job description, they're not going to have all the things that you do. Does that make sense? Let me think. There was something else I wanted to go over with you. specifically mofers, because I think you could actually take this and turn this into action. Let me share something else with you about the most successful people. Like the people in Gary Keller's group, the guys and gals in Gary Keller's group, like these people go to a meeting, like a mastermind like this, right? They go to Gary's mastermind, they take notes, and they actually go do the freaking things that he said to do, okay? That's what sets me apart from everyone else. Like I take something, Ben Kinney, his text that says, I love texting, you hate replying, and I put it in all my auto plans, right? And that freaking text gets tons of responses because of that, right? Most people who heard that from Ben say, oh, that's a great idea. That's so funny. And then they never do anything with it, right? So the people who are at the highest level in Gary's group, these are people who execute. Like they learn something, they say, oh, that's how you do that. And then they take it back and they go execute. And then next month, when they sit down with Gary again, they say, hey, Gary, I did this, X, Y, Z. If you show up to Gary and he says, are you going to do this? And you say yes, and you don't, like, you don't get to hang out with Gary again, right? Like you've heard him at Mega Camp or Family Reunion. He doesn't want to hang with people who don't execute, okay? So execution is the key to making sure you actually create action. So I'm going to talk about seller lead gen, okay? So if you're a seller and you reach out to us, okay? Let's say we're interviewing against other agents too, okay? I'm looking at delivering, selling, I can offer really 4, 5 different ways to that seller to sell their house, okay? 1, I can give them an instant offer. By the way, you all could do that too, because Open Door pays a referral fee if you refer the deal to Open Door, okay? Number 2, I can personally buy the home, okay? Every single listing, this is what I'm working through. Like, do I want to buy it? Like, would they be the kind of person that would sell me this home? Number 3, I can offer them what we would call our concierge service, which is a renovate now, pay later program. This is what we've built our listing business on. We'll do 100 renovations this year where we're loaning the customer the money, managing all of the renovations as a contractor, basically, and helping them fix the house up to get in the best condition possible to sell the house for more money and primarily sell the house. I can go on and on about this. I started doing this 4 years ago. I was not the first agent to do it at all. I took it from an agent in KW, but I was way ahead of like Curbio and all the other kind of ideas around it. And we've just built, we are just the best in our market at doing this by far. And we deliver an exceptional value compared to other agents that are competing. Like there's no one that can do it. Like literally, I walk into the appointment and I say, your house needs X, Y, Z, and they say I'm interviewing 2 or 3 other agents. And I just tell them like, you should stop now because they can't do this for you. Like I could do this, they can't. And we win business left and right because of this, right? This is a true mofer. Like I can help you put 5-10% more in your pocket than anyone else. And it doesn't cost you any financial risk. You don't have to touch a thing, right? And the cool thing about this service, this is not for deferred maintenance properties, guys. Like I'm making them offers. This is like, I get $1 million sellers reaching out to me because they want the leverage of not having to do anything. Got it? Mm-hmm. If you can figure out a way, I would stop everything and figure out a way to perfect this, guys. And I'm trying to figure out a way to offer this as a service to agents and make money on that, because I feel like this is the wave of the future to get a full service fee And if you don't do this, then you would have a discounted fee to just list the house for sale. Got it? Because there's a tremendous value here. Like we're working on 15 homes right now, you know, in various stages of remodel for customers. It creates a whole nother complex like management system to do. We offer them a trade-in, which is a buy first, sell after program. Okay. And then number 5 would be, they just list their house. Got it? So, okay, got it. So I wanted to share this with you. Mo for 1, Mo for 2, Mo for 3. We have 3 MOFers we offer, like key differentiators, unique value props. Get someone to call me over someone else. Instant offers, like get 3 offers on your home today, right? Get an offer on your home guaranteed in the next 72 hours. You all know the guaranteed sale, right? We'll sell your home or we'll buy it. Like that was total BS. We ran that for like 10 years. People freaking called because of it, guys. Like we got leads because of that, right? There's a reason so many agents jumped onto the guaranteed sale. It freaking works, but they never bought a home. Because why would, you know, the real catch to that was we buy the home at 70% of value, like what seller would ever, you know. But the key was we got the appointment, met the seller. Most people, 80% of sellers work with the first person they meet, right? So the MOFer generates the lead, and that's all that matters, okay? All Open Door is a giant MOFer, but it's also a MOFer that sellers want. Sellers want convenience. Sellers want certainty. They want a smoother, easier, simpler sale. And they're willing to pay a premium for it, especially when they have so much equity. Got it? MOFer number 2 is the concierge, helping them whatever they need, renovate upfront, make minor repairs, make roof repairs. This program has cannibalized my flip business because I'll often offer to renovate the house instead of buy it from them so they can keep the equity, right? And so I've done over like $4.5 million in renovations for customers. I've calculated that we've put somewhere around $6 million back in customers' pockets. And in reality, when we do this program for customers, their listing fee, the cost to sell the home goes to 0. So now we just say, like, we have a way where you pay no real estate fees to sell your home. Now that's a MOFer. Call me to learn about our 0 fee option to sell your house. Got it? In reality, after 4 years of tracking this, our homes that we do on average about 30,000 in renovation, they net 10 to 15% more money if they do it this way. And if their fee is 6% or 5% or whatever it is, they're netting an additional 8%, right? And paying their 6% cost of sale and making sure the house sells in a timely fashion. I think that this program will be even more beneficial as competition increases for sellers and they have to have homes in better condition to sell, right? Make sense? There's easy ways to start doing this right now. Like if you send them to Curbio does all that. However, what I will tell you, the value proposition is not about the customer getting money. It's about the management and the speed at which you can get the repairs done. That's the biggest value proposition to the sellers, is not the money, because most of them have some money to do repair. It's about, I meet them at the appointment today, and next week my painter is on site painting the house. Got it? Curbio, and I saw Gabriel posted, he's using Curbio. I have never used them because we were doing this several years before Curbio came. but like, I know that there's no other option in our market to the speed at which and control that I have over the experience. Meaning I meet them, I get a painter there, I get the contractor there, and boom, we're done in 2 weeks. On average, it's about 11 days, okay? And we pass, so the sellers are winning 2 ways. We pass through the savings because we're painting 100 homes or renovating 100 homes. I direct pass through the savings on the cost from the contractor to the customer. So they're probably saving 30 to 40% off of retail. So a $30,000 remodel is actually like a $60,000 remodel in real life. And so they get savings on the repairs, and we coordinate and manage everything. That we don't allow them to pick any colors. We don't allow them to pick any product. We don't allow them to interject. They can't make any repairs on their own. They can't pick their own contractor. It's like fully bought in. And the best thing about this program is when we're done, that customer is now a partner. Like, there is no excuse that seller can have that we're not, we are not vested in their best interests. Does that make sense? So like, it's the ultimate stickiness to a listing. You never have to worry about, is the seller going to fire us, right? Or especially if it doesn't sell in the first week, they're like, dang, well, Steve put 30 grand in this house. Like, he wants it to sell, obviously, right? So I would highly recommend figuring out a way to create MOFers, or even if it's just your own database on Facebook. I can help you renovate your house now, pay later. Our clients are netting 10 to 20% more than the traditional agent, let's say.
Oh, sorry. Are you doing that at a tiered percentage? Like, if we do X amount of work, it's 6%, 7%. Do you do that?
Yeah. No. So again, I'm going to the long-term vision, right? On average, customers who are utilizing that program are paying a 2.5% listing fee. So 5%, right? My long-term vision is, why would anyone in Sacramento ever call any other real estate agent if they can come to me? Right? And so my entire goal is to offer tremendously more value to the customer than any other agent for the same fee. And I've also found, like, could I get away with charging 7%? I'm sure I could. Like, half of them, they probably say, dang, that's a great deal, right? But I make a tremendous amount of money at the commissions we already make, right? And so again, I'm more focused on the 10-year goal versus the right now money. And so imagine just just in 4 years of doing this, the compound effect of this is massive. Like, when a customer nets 100,000 more than they thought, they didn't have to spend any money, any time, and they interviewed 2 or 3 agents, and they're like, this was all done at the same fee as this other agent who didn't pay for staging, who didn't do all this stuff, who was just going to post a sign up, right? I mean, the amount of referrals and traction that comes from that is massive, right? But you have to be willing to stake your business on it. Like, if you go visit our website, it's not a picture of me. It's not like, we can help you sell your house, with great service. It's all about MOFers. Like, the new way to sell a house, right? It's like the innovative way with a menu of options to sell. This is not the only way to run a business. I believe this is the future of real estate, right? Because there's so much money flowing into the business, creating avenues for sellers to do this. Why would they not do this if the option is available to them? The reason they're not now is it's just not traditional. They don't know, right? Many of them don't know these options are available to them. Look at what happened when Zillow and Opendoor were really competing against each other. It was like every single appointment I went on, they had an offer from Opendoor and an offer from Zillow. And then they're like, can you get me more than these 2? So I pivoted our model, and I started running radio ads saying, we can get you 3 offers on your home within 24 hours. The reason I did that was because I wanted them to call me before going to Zillow or Opendoor, so we could help them navigate what offer is best and compare it against market value. And so we could get a referral fee, right? So we could actually refer them to the iBuyer. Does that make sense? All right. Any other questions around this?
That is so smart, by the way. You would
Well,
refer them to the iBuyer.
Well, you know, that also wasn't my idea. You know, there's lots of agents in KW who do that. Kenny Kloss is one of them in Arizona. Many of the rate agents run that value proposition. It's a great way to generate leads for sure. You know, I can give you offers on your home in 24 hours. Any other questions? Where did my eraser go? Around the, let's call it MOFers.
Any question, guys? This has been amazing.
So if there's anything you take and execute, it needs to be that, MOFers. And you all have access to MOFers, like whether it's Curbio, Keller, you know, Keller Mortgage and what's it called? The Keller Offers platform has a ready to sell program as well. So, you know, what I would say is you need to lead with those programs versus being reactive with them. Does that make sense? Like if you're hosting an open house, your open house flyer should say, I can help you buy your next house before selling your current home. Like, why would you not do that? And then figure out a way to make it happen once you get the leads. Got it?
If you could just backtrack and just define MOFer one more time. Please.
MOFer is an acronym.
Okay.
It's make offers for immediate response. And it's an acronym used in like the marketing world to create a lead, right? Like what would cause someone to take action to reach out to you?
Right. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
And you know, once you become consistent in sales, like you're not worried about how you're eat, Chris. Like you know, you're making enough money to survive, right?
Yeah.
Your whole job, you know, what you think about all day is like, how do I come up with MOFers to generate more customers, whether that's through your database or through your network or through real marketing, right? Some people feel as though they're gimmicky, right? That's why I believe like our programs, it's not like the guaranteed sale. It's not like this promise that you don't deliver on, right? Like our concierge program is a promise that we freaking deliver on, and it's exceptional value, right? So a book I would recommend everybody read is The Infinite Game by Simon Sinek. And that book is fabulous. And it really just talks about the best companies are playing what they would call the infinite game. They're not building to a quarter. They're not expanding to like a quarter or a year or 5 years. They're building a product that literally changes how the world is, right? Like, you know, look at people like Google, Apple. These amazing companies are not thinking in terms of short-term action. They're trying to differentiate the entire space, right? And so that's what I would challenge you is like in your real estate business, our small real estate businesses, like what can we do that can literally change, you know, the trajectory of how real estate sales happens and turn the old model upside down and make this real estate experience for this buyer or seller exceptionally fantastic, right? Whether that's by offering programs or an incredible sales experience, whatever the case may be.
Thank you. Fantastic.
Yeah, and then I would also say, as we get ready for the shift in the market, I'm just relaying what Gary said. This is what he said today. He recommends 18 months of expenses in reserves. Your personal finances and your business finances. And I don't know about you guys, but that's like a lot of money, right? 18 months in reserves. That's what he said today. What I teach our agents, and this is how I was able to launch my team, right? Like I was on a team. My business partner one day said, I'm going to EXP and I want you to come with me, right? And I had just had my first daughter. Well, no, I was getting ready to have my first daughter, and she was due to be born in like 2 weeks. And I was like, first of all, asshole, why did you do this right now? And then, you know, but the reason I wasn't scared was that I had always saved a ton of money, right? Like I was always ready for the what if scenario. And when the what if happens, if you're ready for it, you can make a decision based on like what's best for you, not what you need to do financially, right? You don't have to take the job because you need it, right? Make sense? So if you take your commission check, right? Something I'm gonna leave you with, because this is gonna help you whether you're independent, you know, a team or whatever. So you take your full 100% of your commission check, right? We call it the bucket system, okay? Savings, personal savings, tax savings. I would start 5 accounts minimum, okay? When you get a commission check, you're gonna put 20% in your operating budget, okay? Those are for your business expenses, okay? Then you're gonna put 20% in your business savings. Got it? Then in reality, if you're making over 6 figures, you should be set up as a corporation. Your money should flow into your corporation, and then you should W-2 yourself with a paycheck, okay? And I would say the threshold for that, for when it makes financial sense, is about $120,000 a year, gross commission. Once you hit that level, you should incorporate as an S Corp, and then you should have paychecks or some company issue you a paycheck. You should set a budget, you know, $2,500 a month, $5,000 a month, whatever that is. And you need to take a paycheck and you need to live within that paycheck. Got it? This is what will help you grow and scale your business. So all of your commission flows into this account. Once you put 20% in there, you put 20% in your savings account. Your paycheck, which is usually about 20%, goes into your personal checking account. Then you save 20% for your business, your personal savings. And then you put 20% of every check in a tax savings account. That's the worst. But if you don't do that, you're going to get in big trouble. And I found that if you're W-2 in yourself and you're withholding on your W-2, and no matter what amount of money you make, saving 20% per check should save a substantial amount of money to where you have enough to pay all your taxes. And at the end of every year, you get a big bonus check. You have leftover money, by which I deposit into my 401k usually. And it's just another way to save more money. Got it? So the bucket system, like the financial model we run, is super easy. You get a $10,000 check, 20%, and every check to this day, I just did it this morning with 2 checks. I will deposit the check, move 20% of each check to my tax savings account, and then start disposing of it in the proper buckets with every single check. And I never deviate, and I've never been behind on taxes. I'm always ahead on taxes, and it takes all the guesswork out of it. Does that make sense?
It really does. I actually have my MCA sitting in on your final. He's right here.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So once you start getting good at this, your savings accounts, both your business and your personal, should be at least, I'm conservative. So, I would say at minimum in the market we're going into, at least 6 months of your expenses should be saved in reserves in both your business and your personal savings accounts. Remember, we're running businesses where most agents get in trouble from a spending perspective and tax and all of it. They commingle their money and they treat it like all the money that comes in is theirs and they just spend it at will, right? They're not treating it like a business. Got it? Trust me, if you start W-2ing yourself a portion of your gross income, you will start to live within the means of the money you provide yourself, okay? And And so once you've saved up 6 months of reserves, got it? Because many people will have this, like I have this all the time. Like my number is 12 months. So I save 12 months of expenses, usually always. And then if you have excess money, that's when you can start to grow. Like you can hire admin, you can do more lead gen, and you can afford to wait 12 months to when the lead generation actually starts to pay off. Got it? You can't run a 12-month lead gen campaign if you don't have 6 months savings in the bank, because usually agents will start something and then they don't have money 1 month and they start to pull it back and it never succeeds, right? Because they're constantly like dipping their toe in. Make sense? Another thing you can do, like if you're getting really good at managing your own personal finances and business finances, you can make, and if you're incorporating, you can make huge 401k deposits, massive, okay? So if you're an employee, so say I'm an employee of Elevate Realty Group, got it? And I want to set up a 401k, which we did. I can put, I think it's $18,500 per year as an employee into my 401k. Got it? The company can match, I think it's up to currently like 53,000 total. The company can match employees with a percentage of their salary. It's called an elective deferral. And the company can make a contribution to an employee in their 401k up to, I think, 50,000 basically. And so, gosh, for like 5 years, I had made huge contributions to my 401k because I was living well below my means, making way more money than I needed to spend, and contributing massive chunks every year to a 401k. And between that and real estate ownership, that's what helped me achieve, like, you know, my first net worth million and grow that substantially, right? Like there's not a lot of people who can, you know, put away, you know, that kind of money in a 401k. And I'm 35 years old. So I have 25 years until I can retire. So, you know, that's a lot of run rate if you're putting away that kind of money every year. Now, when you start hiring employees, there are limitations as an owner that you can't, like if you do for you do for everybody, which is, you can't go put, you know, 40K in everyone's 401k, right? So like if you're individual right now, you should do that right away. You're missing a big opportunity if you don't go do that right now. Okay. The other cool thing is it lowers your taxable income when you do it. So it's almost kind of silly not to do it. Like you're actually paying more money to not pay yourself back. Got it? So if you run a great business like we discussed, and you're running this model, 20, it's super simple. You will make it through any kind of market if you focus on leads and managing your finances. Any questions there? No? Okay, we ran a little long too.
Yeah, but I didn't even cut it because it's been such great information. So
I love everything.
This is incredible. I'm literally gonna watch this back and reteach your lessons.
No, I was gonna say, is this recorded?
It is recorded. Absolutely.
Okay.
Girl, I hate this. I didn't go miss the opportunity to record Steve.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I mean, it wasn't like, you know, very organized, but I felt like it's, you know, kind of worked in a good flow of what people wanted to know.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I would love that recording too. Good.
Hey, since this is recorded and posted on YouTube, you guys, the way we can thank him is obviously he's really knowledgeable. So any referrals, what location do you service so we can send you some referrals? Can you write your contact information on the board behind you, what cities you service and how we can reach out to you for referrals?
So we service the whole Sacramento region, which would be Sacramento, Placer, and then El Dorado counties. And then also, I'm a part owner in the Cupertino office. So if you ever have any South Bay area clients, Cupertino, Palo Alto, Los Altos Hills, that area.
Yeah.
Those are probably great referral checks for you because their price point is stupid high. And then for us, our email is team@homesbyelevate.
team@homesbyelevate.com.
Yeah. And really, I mean, that's not why I was doing this thing. My goal is like, you always learn something by teaching someone else, and many people taught me. I'm not comfortable teaching a lot, but I know that like I'm very humble. I feel like, man, why would how can I teach yet when I have so far to go? And when you're succeeding at a high level, you start to you never feel like you're like there, right?
Yeah.
Like, I always feel like, man, I'm like 2 steps behind where I want to be. So sometimes you do have to like, give yourself kudos that, hey, you're doing an incredible thing, right? But I would challenge everyone. You've never really made it, right? You're never comfortable. You should always push forward.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what's so great about Gary. You never know what kind of emergency will come your way. So you never know how much money you're going to need because something could happen. You could lose a leg and it puts you out of work for a year, right?
Yeah.
Like, what do you do then, right? So that's my 2 cents.
Wow.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much. Seriously.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, we're going to fly you out here for the in-person series of the 0 to $1 Million.
Let's do it.
Yeah. So you guys, will you guys be interested in him attending his class in person? Raise your hand if you guys want me to bring him here to the Market Center. This has been such a big takeaway for even me. And even I brought my MCA in here because it's just so many notes that we can take. A business is a business, whether running a market center, you guys, or you're running your team. A lot of it functions the same way. That's why in our ALC meetings, we remind you guys often that the way that we run the market center, you should model similar to your teams. And the way you broke that down, Steve, is interesting. And my MCA and I love it. The 20-20-20-20 and helping the agents develop their own LLCs is something that we like to do here and in corporations and whatnot. So thank you so much. It's been amazing, honestly. I can't even.
I think there is a because I did that my first year. I was just getting my first check in real estate was like on a team was $1,800. And I was like, holy shit, this is so much money. And I was 23. So one check, $1,800. And I was like to the moon, right? And this is coming from someone who's making like $17 an hour at that time. In those days, that was good money, right? And so after my first year, someone recommended to me to incorporate, and I always treat it like a business. There's something that changes in your mindset when you incorporate and you get a paycheck from your own company, okay? There is no excuse not to treat it like a business when you get a paycheck and you're the CEO, okay? And you receive a book that has, it has the share count that you own, right? There's this feeling of ownership that you get, and it becomes real, right? You feel like, okay, I've moved out of like, I'm one of those agents that when you tell someone I'm a real estate agent, they're like, oh yeah, you're a real estate agent. So is everyone else, right? You've moved now into the successful business owner, real estate agent mindset. And it's a very low cost to do. You have to make enough money though, to recognize the spend it takes to incorporate, but it's definitely something you should do.
Do you have like a podcast? Because I really enjoyed listening to everything you had to say, but are you like, can we hear you anywhere else? Are you like on YouTube? Are you on like a podcast? Are you on anything else?
No, I don't have my own podcast. No, I have done a couple of podcasts. I can send them I'll send them to you guys and you can listen to them. They're probably very similar, talking about the MOFers. I did a really good one with a buddy of mine named Frank, and we talked all about specifically MOFers to generate seller leads. And then I have a YouTube channel and I put out a lot of educational content directed at consumers, but not agents. But you know,
well, we're copypreneurs here, so we're gonna watch.
Yeah, but you need to execute. You just don't write it down. You want to go out and actually execute, right? Yeah.
And you guys, we're really gonna make it a big deal to get him out here before the end of the year and fly him out here. And this is your opportunity to bring other top producers that you guys think can find value to this class. What do you think, Claudia? Would you guys? You guys would show up for this, right? So my goal is
I'll be there.
Yes, we're going to coordinate right now with my MCA, my staff, to see what dates we have available and coordinate with you, Steve. And I can't wait to meet you in person, honestly.
Cool. Yeah, it's great to meet you all. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Sophia. Thank you so much. We're really grateful. Really
we'll see you later.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
Dang, that was.
He was awesome. He was great.
That was awesome.